Hi, everybody. I am Wendy Fracchia. I am the operations manager for Morris Murdock Escorted Tours, and we're grateful to have you share a few minutes with us today as we talk through one of our amazing tours that we are offering next March of 2025. Today, I'm very excited to welcome both Larry Gelwix, the Getaway Guru, and Carlos Fida. He is our South America specialist extraordinaire for Morris Columbus Travel. You are probably familiar with these two. They've been hosting the travel show every Saturday for several years. Carlos is there quite often. And of course, Larry Gelwix is known on radio and TV and tour host. So I'm excited to have them, for you to get to share this time with them. And guys, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself a little bit here. And let me move on to this next slide. And there you go, your good pictures.
Well, there we go. Welcome to our webinar. It's going to be a lot of fun, not very long, so stick with us. I'm Larry Gelwix, the Getaway Guru.
And I'm Carlos Fida. I'm the specialist for Latin America. I don't do anything else except South America, south of Mexico and on to the tip of Argentina and Chile.
You know, Carlos also serves as the director of Latin American sales for Morris Columbus Travel. I will tell you, we've been the best of friends for almost 40 years, have traveled all over Latin America, around the world together. Carlos is a walking Google on all things. And no, it's true, Carlos, in all things in Latin America. I'm really good in South America. I think he's forgotten more than I know.
That's wrong. That's a wrong
anyway,
statement.
He's been given so many awards by governments and presidents of countries on tourism that it's a pleasure to work with Carlos. Now, I got to tell you, we love South America, but you know, Carlos, most people for their first international trip will do Mexico, Canada, or Europe. And there's nothing wrong with that. No. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about South America, such as?
Well, the difference in food, the landscape, the secret places that almost nobody sees unless you have visited before. I think it is, the language is common language. Spanish is the most important language, because most of South Americans speak Spanish. And then we have Brazil, which is the biggest country in South America and the first bigger, even than the United States, after Canada. So,
well, actually, Carlos, there's 3 languages in South America spoken as an official or first language. The most predominant, of course, Spanish, Portuguese, even English. Yes, there are English-speaking countries in South America. I think one of the biggest misconceptions, Carlos, is that it's all the same or it's all like Mexico. Now, I love Mexico, especially the people and most especially the food. But South America is diverse, different cultures, different cuisines. And what a lot of people don't understand is the cuisine, the culinary opportunities are some of the best in the world. It's a very, very diverse country. Now, this particular tour, Carlos, you'll remember how it came about. As I said, Carlos and I have been the best of friends for over 40 years. And we were talking about what people want today is something unique, out of the ordinary, kind of exciting, yet perfectly safe, and nothing difficult or strenuous about it. So we started putting our collective creativity together and came up with what?
We have a very unusual tour. You know, everybody, you can talk to anybody and say, yeah, I have been to Cuzco, Machu Picchu, I have been here and there, but not the way we organize it. I have the privilege of having visited Peru, for example, over 50 times. So I know that there are different circuits that we can do when we visit the ruins of Machu Picchu, and that's what we do. We just don't do the average. We offer opportunities like a
out of the ordinary.
Yeah, out of the, you know, we stay in Machu Picchu one day, so we can see one overnight. We can see 2 days the itinerary and reach places that nobody.
Yeah. So we put our creative geniuses together and said, let's do something that nobody has ever done. And so we put together a tour that includes 3 destinations: Peru, Chile, and Easter Island, Rapa Nui. So this particular tour includes some well-known sites in a way that I promise you have never seen before. So we will fly into Lima, go up to Cuzco, the Sacred Valley, Pisac. That is one of my favorite places in Peru, in the Andes Mountain. It's an indigenous village. Down to Machu Picchu, Agua Calientes will overnight. And then we come back to Cuzco and make our way to Chile, Santiago, Viña del Mar. And then maybe the highlight, because it's new, is out to Easter Island, the indigenous name Rapa Nui that we will talk about. So why don't we take a quick, detailed look at each day. Day 1, of course, we'll leave from our homes here in the United States and fly to Lima, Peru, arriving. And what we will do there, of course, on day 2 is visit Lima. And there are some exciting things to see. But the real excitement, Wendy, is on day 3. So if we can advance the slides.
So this is your arrival day, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that I was going to say that's amazing. The first look of it will just take your breath away.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about Lima. Lima used to be just a place to arrive into Peru and depart as soon as possible to go to Cuzco, Machu Picchu, the rainforest, or the Amazon River. Not anymore. Peru, Lima especially, is the gourmet capital of the world. They have received prizes after prizes, these famous restaurants that they opened recently. Then you
guys always come back to food.
Yeah, I don't know why, but you can look at the 2 of us and you can tell who eats more. So anyway, the thing that I really like about Lima is that it's a capital city, and beside the capital city, it has things that we never saw before.
It's very exciting. Then on day 3, we'll fly to Cuzco, and Carlos, there's some exciting things. That central plaza and the shopping and the Sacsayhuaman, that monument has 20-ton stones, and the joints are so tight that I've actually taken a pen, got the ballpoint out, and tried to. You can't even get the tip of a ballpoint pen
or a razor blade.
Or a razor blade. It's so tight. Now these things have been there for centuries. My house is built and falls apart in 5 years. I don't know how. Cuzco, what are some of the things that are so exciting about Cuzco?
I like to say, Cuzco now needs to be seen walking, because no transportation, no buses, no cars are allowed. So you walk the city, but you have to know the city. For example, there is a place called Bajada de San Blas. This is a street that go all the way down from the main square and then goes up. The street is very narrow. The sidewalk is even about 1 foot wide. And then the beautiful thing is the stores on each side and the restaurants.
The shopping and the restaurant.
Yeah,
now, you mentioned the walking. This is not strenuous walking.
No.
Well, then, so we're going to enjoy Cuzco. I think one of the best pizza dinners we ever had. You remember that in Cuzco? Let's go to day 4. And here we're moving on to the Sacred Valley. Indigenous villages, shopping. Why is the valley called the Sacred Valley?
Well, the Urubamba River crosses the valley, that goes along the valley all the way into the village of Aguascalientes in Machu Picchu. The water tempers the climate, so they have productions of fruit and vegetables and all kinds of things all year round, even if you're at an altitude of 11,000 feet. That tells you something.
On day 5, we'll leave the Sacred Valley and move to Aguas Calientes and Machu Picchu. Now, of course, Aguas is water, Calientes is hot, natural thermal springs there. And I've got to tell you, we ride the dome train, Carlos, down,
yes,
which has a glass dome on it. And what's interesting about the Andes Mountains is, unlike the Wasatch Mountains or Rocky Mountain, it doesn't roll up. The Andes Mountains explode straight up thousands of feet, and you've got this glass dome on the train. Now, I've got to tell you, Carlos, Aguas Calientes is one of my favorite shops. It's this small village that is just engulfed in the Andes Mountains, thermal hot springs, but restaurants and shopping, and it's a small village, isn't it?
Very small, very, very small,
Yeah.
and especially days that there are no tourists.
And we will overnight there. Now, that afternoon, we'll go up to Machu Picchu. You actually get in vans that take you up a road. There's no buses. Buses can't make it, but the vans will take you up there. Now, as mentioned, we have overnighted in Aguas Calientes. You will fall in love with this village. We've gone up to Machu Picchu in the afternoon, and this continues our visit into day 6. Now, Carlos, the Peruvian government now restricts the number of visitors, so we'll get up there in the afternoon with other tour groups. But what about the morning of day 6?
Well, this is the problem with it's a restriction. It's an agreement between the government of Peru and also the UNESCO. You know, they provide some money to continue restoring the ruins. So I think that's one of the things that we do. Why do we have an extra day? Because we have to see the citadel twice if we want to see
the citadel being Machu Picchu.
Machu Picchu.
And what's nice, folks, is that since we overnight, we will go to Machu Picchu the morning of day 6 before the train arrives and the day trippers come back. Now, later on day 6, we'll return to Cuzco, and where we'll overnight. And then on day 7, it's exciting because we will fly from Cuzco to Santiago. And Santiago is the capital and the jewel of Chile. What will we be seeing there?
The city in itself is marvelous. The city sits very close to the highest Aconcagua peak, 23,000 plus feet altitude, which makes it the tallest peak in the Western Hemisphere. So the city is modern, it's beautiful. It has a colonial area where we are lodging in a hotel that is just a step away from the government palace and the main square.
So we're there. We'll overnight, which leads us to day 8. We'll have the chance to visit Santiago. Wonderful dining as a very iconic city, and it kind of sits in a bowl, doesn't it, with the Andes Mountains that are surrounded. Now, one of the greatest highlights of your life, of your travel life, will be day 9, where we fly from Santiago to Easter Island. And, you know, very few people have visited Easter Island. It's really Polynesia, isn't it?
It is Polynesia. You know, that's the people came from one of the, I think it is the Marquesas Islands, you know, in the Polynesian. So they started a new civilization practically, different language, of course, different customs, different histories, different gods. That's what makes it very interesting. The island in itself is a UNESCO site. In fact, it was the first island in the world that was declared by UNESCO as a special site for mankind. And I love it because there's a lot of open air. There is a show that we can see one of the nights, a Polynesian show, very different from anything else that you may see in the South Pacific.
Which on day 10, we'll start a lot of our sightseeing. Very interesting about Easter Island is that the first European, Jacob Roggeveen, visited this island deep hidden in Polynesia. I mean, it's closer to French Polynesia than it is to Chile in 1722. And he named it Pas Island or Easter Island. That's where it got the name. The indigenous name of Rapa Nui really came about in the mid-19th century, where it reminded people of they were actually slave traders, reminded them of Rapa Island there in French Polynesia. But the original name, Tepito o Tehuana, means the world's navel. Now, that's not the only belly button that we have. Back Cuzco. In Peru, we have Cuzco. That, it was believed that the first Inca was born in Lake Titicaca, but the civilization moved to the center of the world. And so now we have two navels of the world. And if we go to Ecuador, we'll pick up a third one.
Yes,
right.
Indeed.
We'll do that. Easter Island, as Carlos mentioned, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Just a few thousand people live there. But one of the things that is so mysterious, you can see it in the middle picture on this slide, are the Moais.
The Moais, and the Moai represents the ancestors of the people that migrated from Polynesia into Easter Island. And there are lots of legends and lots of myths regarding these issues. It's beautiful. Another thing that is interesting, the last time when I went there in March, I saw the beach that they have, the Anaquena Beach. This is one of the most wonderful beaches. There were hundreds and hundreds of tourists in the beach enjoying a day in the sun.
The Moais really have a mysterious, it's believed, by the 13th century, and you've seen pictures of them, and it is believed, as Carlos pointed out, they represent the ancestors of the Rapa Nui population. But there's not a consensus among historians and anthropologists and archaeologists of their full meaning. Now, here you see some of the body, most of them in the picture on your right, you only see these elongated heads. And what is the mystery? What is the story behind it? Because most of the Moai statues, of which there are 887, remain a mystery and an unknown. And it's just so exciting to talk to some of the locals about this. Now, currently, Rapa Nui, it was annexed by Chile in 1888. So politically, it was a land grab. I mean, it was by Chile some 250 years ago almost, but it retains its Polynesian heritage, its influence.
And the language.
They speak there in Rapa Nui. So incredibly exciting. So this moves us to day 11, where Akavi on day 11 is a ceremonial site. But, Teotaki on day 10 is a site where a lot of the Moais, and you'll see them scattered around this island. You will never forget a visit to Rapa Nui or Easter Island and the history and almost this mysterious stories that the locals will love to tell you about the legends. Well, on day 11, we'll see Akavi in the morning, a very ceremonial site, and then return flight to Santiago. Now, and we'll overnight there. Now, day 12 is so much fun. Viña del Mar, Valparaíso. What will we be seeing that day?
Valparaíso is the oldest port on the Pacific, even older than the ones in the shores of California. So it's an old city, and it looks pretty much like San Francisco because we have to take a cable car from the level of the sea all the way to visit the city. The city has beautiful restaurants. The houses are painted in different colors. I mean, it's an experience of a lifetime. Now, on the other hand, when we talk about Valparaíso is the summer resort of the Santiaguinos, people from Santiago, Chile. That's where they go. They drive 2.5 hours to go to the beach. And it's beautiful too. Pristine.
And Viña del Mar.
And Viña del Mar. Yeah, that's
it's beaches, it's gardens. There's a city there it's a coastal area, but it's such a beautiful city.
It's called the Garden City, by the way, Larry.
Yeah. And so that evening, we'll have a full day of activities and sightseeing. The evening of day 12, we'll return to the Santiago airport, bid farewell, adios to South America, arriving home on day 13. Now, the tour dates on this, we'll leave the United States, as we mentioned at the beginning, on March the 11th. You'll be home on March 24th. This is the most unique South America experience that you will ever have. If you have been to Machu Picchu, Cuzco, the Sacred Valley, you will now see it in a way you've never seen it before. Peru, Chile, Viña del Mar, Santiago, Valparaiso. But I got to tell you, they're all wonderful. But for me, Carlos, Rapa Nui, Easter Island, the mysterious Polynesian island,
it's a unique,
is a great experience. Now, we're keeping this to a small group, 20 plus people. Excuse me. We're already over half sold out, but we do have some space available. This is one that is unlike anything you've ever seen or experienced in your life. And we'd love to have you join us with Carlos and Larry Gelwix. We're going to show you South America like you've never seen it before.
True. It is.
I was going to
ever.
Well, and you know what it is, Carlos, because you're the one who designed it and you always make sure that we have the best tours ever. How many UNESCO World Heritage sites? I think I counted 3 when you were talking throughout the tour. How many is there?
Cusco is one of those. The citadel of Machu Picchu is another one. You have another place. Well, we see, how many do we see? Do we see Santiago? Valparaiso is also a UNESCO site. So I think that we have
Easter Island.
And Easter Island, of course. I think we have about 5 different sites that we visit on this tour.
And the thing is that people love to combine the experience of the multiple places. Like you mentioned, Larry, they may have already gone to Machu Picchu, but they didn't go to Easter Island. And they're always going to tell themselves, I'm going to come back and see Easter Island. Now, a tour like this, you're getting all the highlights at one time. And, you know, if with life happens and you never make it back, you know that you've seen the best of the best.
Yeah. And, you know, we've said that some people have visited Machu Picchu, some have not. It was one of the few Inca cities that was not destroyed by the Spanish conquest. And, you know, there's an astronomical observatory there called Intihuatana, where it indicates the 2 equinoxes, and twice a year the sun sits directly on the stone, without a shadow.
You know what it means, Intihuatana? Intihuatana means the hitching post of the sun.
See, these are just
Go
things
be a gaucho.
We will share with you the history. And come on and join us. It's March 11th to the 24th. You can book this by contacting your favorite Morris Columbus travel advisor or book it at our website, mmetours.com. And MME is for Morris Murdock Escorted Tours. That's the brand name of our Morris Columbus Escorted Tours, mmetours.com, March 11th to 24th. And we're going to have a lot of fun.
It will be fun.
You know what? Getting just to spend time with you guys every now and then on the radio, I just can't imagine anybody more fun to get to see these sites with. So again, we invite you to join Carlos and Larry on this exciting journey. Next year, Carol Alegre in our groups division is the tour manager. Any questions? Details, she can answer all your questions. We're just excited to talk to you, and we hope you'll consider joining us. So thank you for sharing this time with us. Thank you, Larry and Carlos, and we hope you all have a great day. Thanks again.
Thank you, Wendy.
El gusto es mío, Wendy.
Wow, that comes with the Spanish.
Adios.
Bye-bye.